Morning everyone, Rob Little here, Metal and Motors. Behind me is a Sherco Trials bike. I found this on Facebook Marketplace. I've been sitting in a barn for a couple years. I always wanted one and I couldn't justify buying a brand new one. So this one had been sitting for 3 to 4 years. The guy actually didn't know. And I'll be honest with you, I actually don't know the exact year. I tried to look up the VIN, but it's all rusted and can't even get the numbers off of it, but it doesn't matter. So we're going to dive into this. The original tires are dry rotted, great Michelin tires though. So we're gonna put on some brand new tires, put on some new grips, of course, pull it apart. I'm sure the carburetor has got 3 to 4 years of goo in there. So I thought I'd bring you guys along as we go through this for a good fun play toy for riding around here on the property. So come and join me, let's check it out. Okay, so we got a lot of the Trials bike taken apart. A couple cool things I want to point out, because this is again the first Trials bike that I've worked with, is the axles are aluminum. Most of the motorcycles I've worked with were steel, and of course these are super light, and that's really cool. Lots of carbon fiber, that's a lot of fun. Little tiny air box, little tiny air filter on there. You know, that's kind of cool. Again, rear axle parts. Rear axle is aluminum with an aluminum nut, so that's really cool. Everything else looks pretty good. Of course, the carburetor's got all kinds of goo in there. Only thing I see that is kind of broken in here, there is a relay floating around in there that is broken from its mount. Hopefully it still works, but we will see. I haven't looked in the radiator yet to see if there's anything in there. Should do that. Of course, we'll pull the plug, and I'll put a little bit of 2-stroke oil in there and cycle over the engine a couple times just so it gets something in there. It's been dry for so many years, but other than that, I mean, gosh, the bike does not look like it is in very bad condition at all. So you can see some of the goo on that needle on that slide. So let's dive into the carb, and of course change oil on here too. So I pulled the plug, I cleaned it up. It looks pretty good. Gonna use this plug, and we're gonna probably buy a new one in the future, but at least we have that. But while I got the plug out, let's look down inside the cylinder with the scope. I mean, it's nothing to take the head off, but let's just take a look and see what we can see in here. Let's see. All right, going on in. There's the top of the piston right there. And see if we can't turn the camera. Give this thing a kick to the side. Cylinder walls, wow, they look pretty clean. You can still see the crosshatch on them there. I don't see any rust. There's no water in there. Let's give it a quick rotate 360. See if I can't rotate. Come on, off that cylinder head. And look at the other side. I don't see any rust per se. Come on. Hey, I would not be a good scope with a doctor's office. All right, it looks pretty good. I don't see any rust in there. Crosshatch is still there. No huge carbon buildup, so this bike probably doesn't have a whole lot of miles on it. So again, I'm gonna throw some 2-stroke oil in there, and just so it's not gonna turn over the first couple times dry. And next is rebuilding the carb, putting on new tires, changing the oil, changing the antifreeze, all that stuff. So we'll get at it. All right, we're gonna open up the carb, see what kind of surprises we have in here. It smells wonderful. You see this wonderful yummy stuff coming out of here. So let's see what is in here. Hasn't been opened in quite a while, I bet. Of course, I'm not used to these Italian carbs. I'm used to my Keenans and Makunis. Unless I'm doing something wrong here. Unless there's another screw that I'm missing. Just might need a little bit bigger tap. That sounds better. Okay, that's not too bad in there. I mean, you got a little bit of sediment in there. Look at these interesting floats. Interesting. Floats up and down on top of these rods. That's kind of cool. Look at that. All right, let's see if that needle's stuck. Yeah, it's all sticky. The float needle in there. So, all right, we'll take it all apart, but smells vintage. Let's look at this float pin here. Pull that pin out, and let's see what this looks like. It's not too bad, not too bad. Of course, the problem is that's rubber, and ethanol don't usually mix. So, but I bet you that's going to be okay. We'll find out when we put it all back together.
Dad, what are you doing?
Giving the bike a colonoscopy. No, I just thought it'd be fun to look down the exhaust pipe and here, check out how far this thing went down in there. We'll work our way back out. Well, let's turn. There's the baffle. Baffle looks pretty clean. You know, still coming out. Yeah, nice. No, what I did was I took off the radiator cap up here. And it's tight up in here, but I wanted to see what the fluid looks like. But check this out. Look how clean. See if I can get it in here so you can actually see. Look how clean that radiator is. I mean, you can see the fluid right on top, but there's nothing in there. There's no sediment. There's no anything. So you know what? I'm not even gonna crack open the system because I may not have a gasket to flush this thing. I'm gonna close it right back up again and go with it. So it's all wet, so there's fluid. So I just got off the old tire. So that's the old Michelin tire over there. And I wasn't sure what to expect when I yanked off the tire. I actually ordered these new Pirellis and I ordered a tube to go in it. But I want to show you guys how clean this rim is. I hit it with a little bit of Scotch-Brite, a little bit of silicone, and it looks so good. I'm going to go with tubeless. It's a tubeless tire, and usually some of these rims are so corroded, messed up. It's just too frustrating to try and get it to seat, but this looks really clean. So I didn't film taking the tire off. That's too much cussing and grunting and snorting, but I haven't invested in a tire machine. This is old school pry bars, rim protecting, pieces of hose, maybe a clamp to break the bead, that kind of thing. So maybe I'll do the front tire, share it with you guys. Just we'll have to bleep out the comments as I wrestle with it. So let's see if we can put this all back together. All right, I'm gonna share with you guys the old school method of pulling a tire off and putting a new tire on. This can get a little aggravating, so let's dive right in. All right, so what I've done is I've taken the rim and I sprayed the whole thing down with silicone and took a piece of Scotch-Brite and cleaned up the whole side here. The tire that I do have, the Pirelli, it is tubeless, but I'm gonna put a tube in the front because it has a rim lock, of course, and that's not gonna work real great with a tubeless tire. I don't have a seal. That rim lock doesn't have a good seal on it. it's pretty rough looking there still. So I'm gonna put a tube back in here, and that should do good. The only challenge is pinching the tube when you put it back together, so I just have to be real careful. So the existing air filter has been washed and dried and now oiled, and it looks like it's in pretty good condition. I should probably get a spare. It hasn't dry rotted, so I don't know if the Pro Filter Premium Air is what came in these bikes stock, but that's what's going back in it. Look at this little tiny air box, little tiny filter. Trials bikes are a hoot. This is all new for me, so it's pretty cool. Just not a whole lot of volume, I guess, when you're putting around, you know, launching yourself over a rock or so. So, hey guys, I think that's going to do it for today. Got a good progress on the Sherco. Really excited about getting this thing going, taking you guys with us. All we got left to do is put on the carb, put on the air box, kind of go through a little bit. I'll change the oil once. Get it off the stand, that way it doesn't make a big mess on that belly pan. But I don't know about you guys, but I usually get sidelined when I'm on projects, and I'll show you what the sideline is. It's Cooper! No, actually Mama came down and said, hey, we gotta go to this July 4th party and I gotta wash my car. I can't show up with a dirty car. Well, here we go. So I hope you guys have a great 4th of July. We'll catch up over the next couple days as we finish up the Trials bike. So God bless you. See you on the next one.